I never thought the sound of a door clicking shut could change everything. But there I was, standing in Marcus's office at 6:30 on a Thursday evening, watching him close that door with a kind of deliberate slowness that made my heart forget how to beat properly. The office was empty, except for us. Everyone else had gone home hours ago, but I'd stayed late finishing the quarterly reports, same as I always did, same as I'd been doing for the past 2 years, ever since Marcus became my direct supervisor. He turned to face me, and I saw something in his expression I'd never seen before. Not the professional mask he wore during team meetings, not the slightly warmer version he showed when we grabbed coffee. This was different, raw, almost frightened. "Theo," he said, and my name sounded different in his mouth than it ever had before. "We need to talk." My mind immediately went to worst-case scenarios. I was being let go. The company was downsizing. I'd made some terrible mistake in the reports, but then I noticed his hands were shaking slightly as he gestured toward the chair across from his desk. Marcus didn't shake. Marcus was the most composed person I'd ever met, all clean lines and controlled movements, like someone had designed him to be the perfect middle manager. I sat down because my legs suddenly felt unreliable. He didn't go behind his desk like he normally would. Instead, he pulled the other visitor chair around so we were sitting face to face, knees almost touching. The late afternoon sun was coming through the blinds in those sharp golden bars that make everything look like a movie scene. I could smell his cologne, something woody and expensive that I'd spent 2 years pretending not to notice. "I'm going to say something," Marcus began, then stopped. He ran his hand through his dark hair, messing up the perfect style he always maintained. "And I need you to let me get through it before you respond. Can you do that?" I nodded, not trusting my voice. My throat felt like I'd swallowed sand. "I've been lying to you," he said. "Not about work. Your performance reviews have been honest. You're brilliant at what you do. But I've been lying about why I gave you that promotion last year, why I always pair you with me on client presentations, why I restructured the team so your desk is visible from my office." He paused, and I watched him gather courage like someone collecting stones to build a wall, or maybe to tear one down. "I did those things because I'm in love with you, Theo. I have been for a long time, and I know this is completely inappropriate. I know I'm your boss, and this violates about 17 different HR policies, and I'm probably destroying my career right now, but I can't keep pretending anymore. I can't keep acting like you're just another employee when you're the first person I think about when I wake up and the last person I think about before I sleep." The world tilted sideways. I gripped the arms of the chair to keep from sliding off reality itself. Marcus was in love with me. Marcus, who I'd spent 2 years carefully not fantasizing about. Marcus, whose smile I'd trained myself not to read too much into. Marcus, who I'd convinced myself saw me as nothing more than a competent subordinate with a good work ethic. "I'm not telling you this because I expect anything," he continued, words tumbling out faster now like he was afraid he'd lose his nerve. "I'm telling you because I got a job offer in Seattle, director-level position. I'd be leaving in 3 weeks, and I realized I couldn't leave without you knowing the truth, even if it means you hate me, even if you report me to HR tomorrow. I just needed you to know that someone sees you, really sees you. Not just the professional version you show the world, but the guy who reorganizes the supply closet when he's stressed, who hums under his breath when he's concentrating, who brings in homemade cookies for the team, but always keeps the slightly burnt ones for himself because you don't want anyone else to have the imperfect ones." He'd noticed all of that. Every small, stupid thing I thought I'd kept hidden. "You can talk now," Marcus said quietly. "You can tell me I'm fired, or that you're quitting, or that I'm insane. Whatever you need to say." But I couldn't say anything because I was crying. Not dramatic sobbing, just tears sliding down my face without permission. Marcus's expression crumpled. "God, Theo, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said anything. This was selfish and... I bought a plant for my apartment because it reminded me of the one on your desk," I heard myself say. "It's this stupid succulent that I've somehow kept alive for 8 months, even though I kill every plant I touch. I water it every Sunday, and I talk to it sometimes, and I named it Marcus, even though that's pathetic and ridiculous." His eyes went wide. "You named a plant after me?" "I've been in love with you since the company retreat last year," I continued. "And once I started talking, I couldn't stop." Remember when we had to do that trust fall exercise and everyone was joking around, but you took it seriously? You caught me and you held on for just a second longer than necessary, and you said, "I've got you," in this voice that made me feel like maybe someone actually did. I've replayed that moment about 1,000 times. I've built entire alternate universes around those 3 words. We stared at each other across 2 feet of charged air. His tie was crooked. I'd never seen his tie crooked before. "I thought you were straight," Marcus said. "You never mentioned dating anyone, but you talk about your family and your college roommate Brad, and I just assumed." "Brad's my ex," I said. "We dated for 2 years, broke up right before I started working here. I don't talk about dating because the only person I've wanted to date works in the office directly above mine and makes me proofread emails 3 times before I send them because I'm terrified of seeming unprofessional." Marcus laughed, this broken, relieved sound. "I make you nervous?" "You make me forget how to form sentences. Last month, when you touched my shoulder during that budget meeting, I had to redo an entire spreadsheet because I couldn't remember any numbers for 20 minutes afterward. The budget meeting where I complimented your analysis? You said I had a good eye for detail. I thought about that for a week." He reached out slowly, telegraphing his movement like he was afraid I'd bolt. His hand touched my knee, warm through my slacks. "Can I kiss you? Is that allowed now? I don't know what the rules are." "I don't think there are rules for this," I said. "I don't think this situation has ever existed in the history of corporate America." "Someone's definitely done this before, probably got fired, probably got sued, definitely got talked about at the water cooler." We were both smiling now, tears still drying on my face, his hand still on my knee like an anchor point. "I really want to kiss you," Marcus said, "but I also want to do this right. I don't want you to feel pressured because I'm your supervisor. I don't want this to be something you regret." I stood up, and his hand fell away. For a second, he looked devastated, like he'd misread everything. Then I held out my hand to him. "Take the job in Seattle," I said. "Take the director position, and let me come with you." "Theo, you can't just upend your entire life." "Why not? What's keeping me here? An apartment I hate? A city where I don't have any family? The occasional awkward brunch with Brad where we pretend we're still friends?" I was still holding my hand out. "I'm a data analyst. I can do that anywhere. And maybe I want to upend my life. Maybe I've been waiting for a reason to." Marcus took my hand and stood. We were close now, closer than we'd ever been, except for that trust fall exercise that had apparently meant as much to him as it had to me. "This is crazy," he whispered. "Completely insane," I agreed. "We've never even been on a date. We've had lunch together 47 times. I've been counting." "That's work lunches. Those don't count." "They counted to me." His free hand came up to my face, thumb brushing away the remaining tears. "I don't want to be your boss anymore. I want to be your person. Is that okay?" Instead of answering, I kissed him. Or he kissed me. It was mutual and clumsy and perfect. 2 years of careful distance collapsing into one moment. He tasted like the peppermint tea he always drank in the afternoons. His hand in my hair was gentle but certain. When we broke apart, both breathing hard, his forehead rested against mine. "I'm putting in my 2 weeks tomorrow," I said, "and I'm telling HR about us. We're doing this properly." "You don't have to quit. I'm the one leaving." "I want to quit. I want to start something new, with you, in Seattle, if that's what you want too." Marcus pulled back just enough to look at me properly. His eyes were bright, almost fever bright. "I want that more than I've wanted anything. But Theo, Seattle is expensive, and you'd be leaving your job without having another one lined up. I can't ask you to do that." "You're not asking. I'm offering. There's a difference." "What if we get there and it doesn't work? What if we realize we only liked each other because it was forbidden?" I grabbed his tie, straightened it without thinking. "Then we'll figure it out." But I don't think that's what this is. I think this is the real thing, the kind of thing people write songs about. "I can't sing," Marcus said. "Neither can I. We'll be tone deaf together." He kissed me again, softer this time, like he was memorizing the shape of my mouth. When he pulled away, he was smiling properly for the first time since I'd walked into his office. "I have a confession," he said. "Remember the Christmas party 2 years ago?" The one where I got drunk on spiked eggnog and told everyone about my high school drama club experience? You were doing scenes from Rent. It was adorable, but that's not the confession. I drove you home that night. You fell asleep in my car and I sat in your parking lot for 20 minutes, just watching you sleep, thinking about how much I wanted to carry you upstairs and make sure you got into bed safely. I almost did. But then you woke up and I pretended I'd just arrived. I wasn't that drunk, I admitted. I knew you sat there. I was awake for most of it. I just didn't want the night to end. We're idiots, Marcus said. Complete disasters, I agreed. I'm going to call the Seattle company tomorrow and accept the position. Then I'm going to help you find a job there, a good one, better than what you have here. I'm going to tell my landlord I'm breaking my lease. Then I'm going to pack up my apartment and my plant named Marcus and drive across the country with you. It's a 3-day drive. 3 days in a car together. Good way to find out if we're compatible. He laughed. We're about to move across the country together. I think we're past compatibility tests. Fair point. We stood there for a long moment, just existing in the same space without pretending. The sun had shifted lower, and the office was dimming into that blue hour before the automatic lights kicked on. I could hear the building's ventilation system humming. A car alarm went off somewhere in the parking lot below. I should go, I finally said, before building security does their rounds and finds us like this. What are we going to tell people? Marcus asked. At work, I mean, for the next 3 weeks. The truth, that you're leaving for a better opportunity, that I'm leaving to pursue other options. We don't owe anyone the details. People are going to speculate. Let them. I'm done hiding. Marcus walked me to the door but didn't open it immediately. Theo, thank you for being brave enough to feel this too. I was terrified you'd laugh at me or report me or just feel nothing. I've been terrified for 2 years, I said. Every day coming into this office, seeing you, wanting you, thinking it was impossible. This feels like waking up from a nightmare into something better. Or falling asleep and having the best dream. Let's make sure we're both awake then. He kissed me one more time, quick and sweet. Then he opened the door and we walked out into the empty office together. My desk looked the same as it always did. His office door, now open, looked the same, but everything was different. That night, I sat in my apartment with my phone in my hand, staring at the succulent on my windowsill. I'd told Marcus I named it after him, but I hadn't told him that sometimes I practiced conversations with it, that I'd rehearsed 100 different scenarios of telling him how I felt, always chickening out before the words became real. I didn't need to practice anymore. I pulled up my landlord's contact information and started typing an email about breaking my lease. Then I opened a new browser tab and searched for data analyst positions in Seattle. Then I looked at apartments, even though Marcus and I hadn't discussed living arrangements. Maybe that was too fast. Maybe we needed to take things slower. But then again, we'd already spent 2 years moving in slow motion. Maybe it was time to sprint. My phone buzzed. A text from Marcus. Can't sleep. Keep thinking about you. Is that weird? Not weird, I typed back. I'm looking at apartments in Seattle. Already? We have 3 weeks. 3 weeks isn't very long. Long enough to plan, short enough to not lose our nerve. I'm not losing my nerve, I sent. Are you? The typing indicator appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Finally, no. I've never been more certain of anything. That's what scares me. Being certain? Being happy, it feels fragile. I understood that. Happiness always felt like something that could shatter if you held it too tight or not tight enough, like a soap bubble or a perfect moment you couldn't photograph. Then we'll be careful with it, I texted, but we won't be afraid of it. When did you get so wise? I've had 2 years to think about what I'd say to you if I ever got the chance. What else did you plan to say? I hesitated, then decided honesty had gotten us this far. That you make me want to be braver, that watching you lead meetings makes me want to be a better professional, that your laugh sounds like coming home, that I've imagined 100 different versions of our future and they're all good. My phone rang instead of buzzing with another text. I answered, and Marcus's voice filled my ear, warm and close. I couldn't type all that, he said. Needed to hear your voice. Is this okay? Calling you at 11 at night? More than okay. I keep thinking I'm going to wake up and this will have been some elaborate fantasy. That tomorrow I'll go into the office and you'll treat me exactly the same as always, and I'll realize I imagined the whole thing. You didn't imagine it, I said. I'm real. This is real. Say something only the real Theo would know. You have a scar on your left hand from a cooking accident. You told everyone it was from rock climbing, but you actually burned yourself making risotto because you were trying to impress a date who never showed up. You told me that story during a team-building dinner and made me promise not to tell anyone because it was embarrassing. He was quiet for a moment. I can't believe you remembered that. I remember everything you tell me. It's a problem. My brain is full of Marcus trivia. What else do you remember? You're allergic to shellfish, but not regular fish. Your favorite color is navy blue, but you think that's boring, so you tell people it's green. You wanted to be an architect, but your dad convinced you business was more practical. You have a sister named Claire who lives in Portland, and you miss her. You stress bake when you're anxious, and that's why the break room always has cookies on deadline. Weeks. Should I keep going? I didn't realize you were paying that much attention. I've been paying attention to everything about you since the day we met. You wore a gray suit and a blue tie, and you mispronounced my name at first, called me Theo instead of Theo. You apologized 3 times. I thought you were the most beautiful person I'd ever seen. I mispronounced your name because I was nervous, Marcus admitted. You looked at me with these eyes that seemed to see right through my professional persona, and I forgot how to function. We've wasted a lot of time being nervous. We'll make up for it. 3 weeks here, then forever in Seattle. Forever is a long time. Not long enough, he said. Get some sleep, Theo. Tomorrow we start planning our future. Our future? I like the sound of that. Me too. Good night. Good night, Marcus. I lay in bed after we hung up, staring at the ceiling, feeling like my body couldn't quite contain all the emotion trying to exist inside it. This morning, I'd been one person, living one life. Tonight, I was someone completely different, with a future that looked nothing like I'd planned, and everything like I'd secretly hoped. The next 3 weeks were chaos and revelation in equal measure. We told HR, who were surprisingly understanding once Marcus explained he was leaving. We told our co-workers, who were less surprised than we expected. Apparently, we hadn't been as subtle as we'd thought. Jenny from accounting admitted she'd been running a betting pool on when we'd finally get together. I gave my notice, packed my apartment, said goodbye to a city I'd never quite felt at home in. Marcus and I went on our first official date, a dinner at an Italian restaurant where we held hands across the table and talked about everything we'd never been able to say before. He told me about his childhood in Michigan, about coming out to his family at 23, about the relationship that ended badly and made him cautious about love. I told him about growing up in a small town, about being the only gay kid in my high school, about Brad and why that relationship failed. He wanted someone more outgoing, I explained, someone who'd go to clubs and parties. I wanted someone who'd stay home and watch movies. I hate clubs, Marcus said. Too loud, can't have actual conversations. See? We're perfect for each other. We really might be. On our last day in the office, Marcus and I stayed late, same as we had that first night. But this time, when he closed his office door, we were both smiling. We stood at his window, looking out at the city lights, his arm around my waist. Ready? He asked. Terrified, but ready. Same. Let's go build something new. We drove to Seattle together, Marcus's car packed with essentials, mine following behind with everything else. We stopped at roadside diners and cheap motels. We argued about music and discovered we both loved terrible action movies. We talked until our voices went hoarse, then drove in comfortable silence. And with every mile, the future felt more real and less frightening. Seattle welcomed us with rain and possibility. We found an apartment with enough space for both of us, a compromise between his minimalism and my need for coziness. I started a new job at a tech company with better pay and more interesting projects. Marcus thrived in his director position. We built a life together, piece by piece, day by day. And sometimes, late at night, I still think about that closed office door, about Marcus's shaking hands and raw honesty, about the moment everything changed because someone was brave enough to tell the truth. The succulent sits on our kitchen windowsill now. I told Marcus we should rename it, but he insisted we keep the name. A reminder of all those months of longing and hope, of the person I was before I knew happiness could feel this solid, this real, this much like coming home.